And you have to have a service that you can always wake up and say, maybe I got competition out there, but I still am the best fit for the clients that I serve because no one else does what I do better. There's always a room for a pioneer to go at places where people haven't ever been before. And even though I was a pioneer in SEO in 1996 when it first started, I got in kind of at the right time. But now's the best time to get into SEO for AI searches. You got to be the best at it. Be a pioneer every year. Every year, you got to come up with your new strategy to trek across the countryside in a wagon so you can pioneer into new frontiers and figure out what you're doing that is better than anyone else. And so that's my advice.
Thank you for being on the call. Let's go ahead and start with your background.
Great. Simple thing I've always told people about my background. For 30 years, I've been the owner of SEO Game. It's not my first company. It's a spin-off from another technology company I had in the 90s as a 28-year-old. And I basically have seen a lot as the owner of SEO Game. But my small background, I like to tell people, is I've been a white label SEO company. And that just is a fancy $10 word for someone who does the search engine optimization for an SEO company. And my day-to-day is still today fulfilling that mission, or my why, everyone likes to call it. What is your why? And so my day-to-day is helping and being behind the scenes to make a digital marketing agency look good and grow and scale their business. So my why is that I partner with digital agencies so that they don't have to go around finding other partners. They can stay with their SEO vendor. And my day-to-day is fielding their questions all day long, helping them with their book of business, keeping their clients, paying them on a retainer, which is a lifetime client. And I have found some tips and tricks on how to do that. So I constantly are hearing the digital agencies' complaints about, well, what are we going to do to get more, more clients that are going to pay on retainer? And what are we going to do about keeping this client happy that's paying me on a retainer? And I say, yeah, you just need to get these clients paying on a retainer. So we need more deliverables. We need more attribution. We need increase in rankings. And so I figured out how to do that all in 10 deliverables. But with so many deliverables, the clients are saying, what more can we do? And sometimes 10 deliverables is a lot. It's like, well, maybe I could find one or two more deliverables for you so you can story tell how the process goes for your clients. Keep them happy. That's my day-to-day, is just keeping those digital agencies content so that they can do their things with the relationships they have with their clients, so I can make them look good and grow and scale their business.
Man, that sounds awesome. It sounds like you're very busy. That's a lot to do when you get 10 deliverables per company. That's a lot of work. That's
per week. Awesome. They have to see those. Yeah.
Ooh, awesome. Well, here's what I would like to know a little bit about you. I want you to tell me how you got started and follow us through that journey through your career, and tell us about the wins, losses, struggles, pivots that you've had to go through to stay in business today. And then once you get that, then we'll talk about how things need to change for you to continue. Is that fair?
Yeah.
All right.
Background.
Let's go with your journey.
The journey, I mentioned earlier, this is my second company I started in 1996. And the first company I had partnered with a very smart individual, roommate, and then his partner. And we just had a little company called an ISP, an internet service provider. That in the 90s, that was when I first learned about search engine optimization in 1995, 96. And I was running and partnering with a digital agency. We joined chambers of commerce. We did everything we could to grow that company. And my journey to create this company was the advice I got in a chamber of commerce from one particular member. I still remember him like it was yesterday, 30 years ago. He brought me in aside and he said, No one cares about your $9.99 service for dial-up, right? Fixing fax machines and that lightning speed dial-up in the day. They said, he said to me, it's about relationships. And it kind of gave me such a thought about the way I was running my business that made me want to get out of the ISP business, this technology company business, and start something that would just be about relationships. And I've been a relationship partner for digital agencies, fast forward now, for 30 years because I had clients that I could start with a new company. I had already created the relationships. These were marketing agencies, travel bureaus, the things that you did in the 90s in a chamber of commerce. You were helping them, and I was the technology guy. So I wanted to help them at the ideal level of a white label provider. So that's the journey. Okay, so the other thing I want to mention, just really quick, is in the 90s, in 1996, when I started SEO Game, all the way until Google started, it was get rankings in the search engines. It was SEO, or search engine optimization, for multiple engines. Google came around and became just SEO for Google. And then we've been kind of living that model for a couple of decades. It's now in 2025, it's the same confusion back in the day when I first started, the first 5 or 6 years before Google became a monopoly pretty much of all traffic, and number one, only people care about is Google anyway, is that the same kind of like smoke and mirrors, the same kind of confusion with hiring a digital marketing agency is the same thing that I can say in the 90s, where today in 2026, it's all about AI searches. It's all about more customers acquisition. Is more or just hiring an SEO just to get you number one rankings isn't going to cut the mustard. It's not just about link building and reporting about types of all these old tactics that worked in 2025. So 2026, it's all this confusion now. It's kind of like the 90s all over again. I wonder if it's going to settle, but yeah, that's what's caused a lot of pivots in my career.
Very interesting. Um, so was there ever a time where you felt like you couldn't go on, or were you always lucky to be successful, or maybe not lucky is the right word, but in the right position to where you always had a good business going? Or did even COVID create a situation to where maybe you didn't know if you were going to move forward? Can you tell me about any of
There's
those?
definitely, I was in the dot-com bubble in San Francisco and in that area of Silicon Valley, and I lived a really, we had clients, and I lived an experience there where I saw a recession, and then 9/11 happened, and then I lived through the 2010-11 era where we had a housing crisis and a bubble and finance. These ups and downs have some different presidencies, it can be an ups and down,
Right.
and there has been times where I have had to say I couldn't have done it. I'm never going to give myself the credit, but I'm going to give the credit to my team. I'm going to give the credit to all the different people who believed in me. And I'm going to say that, there's times where I had to buckle up and maybe work internally at a place for a little bit, but I've always had SEO Game on the side. As many people have said, you can't work for me full time and still have this other company, that was during the 2010, different times where Google was transitioning to get their own, that was a big change for my industry. We had a panda and penguin up, but they did that affected everybody. That affected me more than anybody. Some people say they went through it like they were prepared, and I just laugh at them because they didn't have any really good clients. They didn't have the kind of clients I had. But that being said, 2026 is a great year, and I'm just glad that I have clients, and you use the word lucky, Gene. So I'm going to just use that word too. I think I've been lucky a lot to have a good service that has weathered through some of those storms. Because if you have a quality service, you're going to be found no matter what. I mean, as long as it's about a differentiator, being different. I'm a white label SEO company that does performance-based SEO, no rank, no pay. And I have held true to that, and no one else does that. No one else. I've never found anyone like me. There's a lot of SEO companies. They all have a keep your fingers crossed plan behind the back. They might say their performance, but their performance in a different way, completely different than the way I describe performance. My performance is different for an agency because I want them to experience what I can give them to make them look good and grow and scale. So they can get their affairs in order. I offer 30-day trials, and then they get their affairs in order. They can get paid. It's a model where I lose a lot too. But I win more than I lose. So it's like the house, in a gamble. So I just have to. I win more than I lose.
There you go. You know what? It just sounds like downright honest living, to where you're giving them exactly what they need. And they're like, in your game, the SEO game, there's no smoke and mirrors. You're putting your talent on the line every single month. And I commend you for that. I think that's awesome.
Well, thank you.
So now you brought up Google a couple times. Google has changed so many things over the years. Tell me about if there's some struggles with that, and how do you stay on top of that? Because you never know what they're going to come up with next.
Yeah, and I'm going to speak in the shoes of who I service, not the potential customer that I don't work with. Okay. So the shoes that I work with are a digital agency that says I got to get more clients, or I have to keep this client happy. And you're it, Mark. Get your stuff in order and get it going so that in 30 days I could pay you. So they might be charging $500 a month for this client. They might charge more. I hope they get more. I want them to, certain industries like bricks and mortar, you have your med spas, your dentists, your chiropractors, and they're just great bricks and mortar companies out there that deserve to be number one ranking. A dental implant dentist wants a $20,000 customer. If you get them a number one Google map ranking and a number one ranking for dental implant, guess what that $20,000 customer is going to do to that dentist? It's going to call them every week. And a dentist is going to do cartwheels for that, okay? Because they want those butts in the chair. And those are high tickets and high volume too. That's the beauty of an SEO campaign. So where you said earlier, I just wanted, where Google's changed a little bit, it hasn't changed for the dentist. The dentist still wants that relationship with that digital marketing agency, or maybe it's a dental implant or dental marketing agency that just works with dentists only, and they have me as their vendor doing all the work. I can only get paid if I get number one rankings for dental implant. I can only get paid number one rankings if I'm working with the home services, like the plumber, the roofer, the HVAC. And so those industries are so loyal to their marketing agencies to keep them number one ranking. And as long as they stay number one rankings, they have a relationship, and they reward their agency with what's called a retainer, month to month. Perfect. There's only one campaign that gets a retainer, by the way, an SEO campaign. It isn't for web design. It isn't for maybe a social media. It could be off and on. Pay-per-click is definitely off and on. It goes in different waves and cycles. But SEO is consistent. It's going to, until they die, sell their business, or retire. It's a lifetime contract, a retainer. And it's just left on autopilot. Digital agencies, more than anything, love things that are left on autopilot. That's money in the bank, gravy, extra just income. Always know it's going to come, because that, as long as they say number one. Now it's my job as the vendor for the digital agencies to help with the deliverables. We're up to 10. 10. And a lot of it's in AI. And a lot of it's in grid mapping and the grid tracking and heat maps. And a lot of it's just in how we're getting more customers. So we can attribute a #1 ranking to get more phone calls and web traffic and more customers. So I forgot the question that we were asking, but
Oh, it was just if there was any changing in Google's that affected
yeah.
you and your business.
Yeah, for the B2C companies, a #1 ranking is a forever rewarded #1. You're always #1. Now there's more ways we can keep you. We don't, in 2025, it was like, oh, you got me #1. Why do I need to keep hiring your SEO services? If I can just stay #1, I'm going to test it out. I'm going to stop paying you, Mr. Digital Agency, your $1,000 a month or $500 a month. Then they tell the vendor, oh, we're not going to pay you your $300 a month. And then they decide out, out of sight, out of mind. The dentist doesn't call us back for never, and they lose their rankings because it all goes crap. And the dentist has moved on, he's got enough clients, he's happy-go-lucky, he's not really worried about it. But there's a certain drive to certain agencies that do more in deliverables to tell the story, their story branding, telling. I only had 1 report in 2025. Now I have 10. And they're all AI and they're all grid map, and that's the thing that's changed. It's my reporting and getting people more story brand telling.
So you mentioned AI.
Yeah.
So tell me about how AI has helped your business and or if it's also hindered your business as well.
Well, it's definitely, it's helped my business being able to deliver more in recommendations to the agency so that they can tell the dentist, the plumber, these kinds of B2C companies, business to consumer, here's why a #1 ranking is helping you in these other areas in AI. And we want to focus on AI search. Now, I get numbers mixed up all the time. I like to say what I always see, but people always argue with me. But I always get to look at Google Analytics, and I look at organic traffic. So you take a high volume keyword like a plumber's keywords or a dentist keywords. You take high volume, let's say a big city. You take those #1, you take that Google Analytic traffic from organic, and the percentage of organic traffic from a Google search is still hitting 98, 99% of overall all incoming traffic. The AI is only at 1 to 2%. So do we throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, oh, well, just everybody's talking about AI, so we must just forget about the 99% of the overall traffic and just put all the numbers of 1% into let's gamble this away and just
Right.
you can't do it yet. No gambling when the numbers are real.
Do you think those numbers
99,
could change?
yeah, of course.
Okay.
We want them to change, but I hope my connection's still good. I'm getting a notification, but yeah, we want the numbers to change. However, we also want to report month to month on what we're doing to make that change happen. We
Right.
want more AI search traffic because that's a lot of ways that people are searching. And we don't want to be totally reliant on just Google. Google doesn't have the monopolies like they used to anymore, but Google's trying their best to get back that. Yeah, obviously there's tools that I have to tell the digital agency. And that's what I'm just telling you in my shoes, but I don't have any real good, I have good tools that I'm using, but I wanted to just talk about tools that I'm putting in the hands of digital agencies so they can do the report, because AI is this funny word that we throw around, but do you know what we don't include in the word of AI or LLM searches or GEO or whatever we're calling it now? Some people are changing the names to whatever they feel is right. They forget to add what it really is all about. So to the dentist, the plumber, the roofer, the chiropractor, the med spa, to them, AI is does it help my ROI? Does it can you prove to me that we're getting mentioned? Can you prove to me that all the mentions you're getting me is getting tracked and we're improving on that? And I duplicate that. Can I actually, see, because they're going to test it out. They're going to look at AI mode. They're going to look at Google's AI mode. They're going to look at Gemini. They're going to look at ChatGPT, the other 4 or 5 that are out there. They're going to test it. They're going to ask, well, what about, they're going to ask crazy questions that'll throw you off. Like, well, what about Facebook Meta's AI? Or what, they're going to ask different questions all the time, depending on what platforms they're using the most, Copilot or Grok, or, whatever they're using. And they're getting better in the form of more mentions and recommendations. I don't know if you've seen what Copilot's doing lately, but Copilot's is doing fantastic in recommending where they weren't doing it a week before. The data wasn't there. It was just like recommending or mentioning websites, but it wasn't giving you an opportunity to click a link and get to the website really easy. Now it's 100% in, just like Perplexity's been doing that, trend setting. And so it's all about the word that we forget about it when we're using acronyms is the word recommendation, because that's all the clients care about is, can you prove to me that is recommending me as a top dental implant dentist or the best dentist or the most affordable, the emergency plumber? Can you show it to me? Can I duplicate that?
Very nice. Very nice. Do you see any other trends in the industry that could help you reach your goals, or could there be some trends happening that could hurt your business other than AI?
I'm thinking about how AI helps myself and my clients in agentic AI tools. There's some smart people out there doing a lot of good vibe coding and did things like that in Claude and stuff like that. I'll start with the one that hurts me the most is Claude. Digital agency that just says, you know what, I can just do it on my own with Claude, and I've created a script and I found a service provider that will support me when it comes to citation building and and they're going to just take my money and they're, instead of paying you $300, I'm going to pay a Claude license fee that's going to pay me a monthly fee, and then I'm going to do this and that, and then I'm going to do it all on my own. And I'm just like, okay, right. Good luck with that.
Right.
And I've seen some of that trend out there that's hurting me. I don't know what to do about it. I am actually know what to do about it, but I'm not yet ready to reveal our own internal Claude service that we're trying to do. That's how if you can't beat them, join them.
Join them, right? Exactly. So what's next for Mark? Are you going to continue on the path, or do you have some additional plans? Because as you are with me, we're a little bit older than the average probably in this game, and we've seen a lot. What's next for Mark?
Improving the digital agency's experience with the services, so their touch points are getting met. So I don't say, here's what you could expect to have when you start paying me $300 or $400 a month or something like that. Here's what you can expect, and here's the 10 deliverables, and then 3 months later I'm still on deliverable 3, and like that. So this is like this transitionary period that I'm in right now, which is, I think, a lot of digital agencies, and the more services I provide. The other thing that I'm seeing as a future is how I treat my digital agencies with an agentic AI tool that helps them get 5 introductions a day. And if they're taking advantage of it, and if I'm behind the scenes using it to give them better, so they're closing better deals. I can't help it that they don't close deals when I'm giving them simple opportunities. Old guys like us, sometimes we have no problem in picking up the phone and calling people and saying, you know what, I already know all about you, and I'm really just excited to want to talk to you. And people love it when you pick up the phone sometimes still and just say, Gene, it's Mark. we haven't spoken, but I really had something amazing to say about your website. And they're over there answering their phone, and there's certain industries that still pick up the phone when you call,
Yes,
and you just have to
that's far
close those
fewer
deals.
between now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I give 5 introductions a day, and if you're just one of those guys that's like, well, I don't ever call people. I just have my robots doing all that work. It's like it's not going to work for you, buddy. So anyway, I'm just excited that there's a lot of guys like you and I that are clients of mine. They're still marketing agencies, and they're just glad that I speak their language, but they're dying out. They're changing industries, they're retiring. So I still provide really good services. So just staying on top of the best services. I've always been, I guess, lucky that I've had. One thing that's made me really lucky is I've always had the same team
Oh,
behind.
that's nice.
Yeah, so that they're constantly taking risks with me, and I kind of get excited that they haven't. Well, there's a term about that. It's called walk the plank. If you've ever experienced mutiny with your team, I have. I felt that. I felt like they weren't going to let me come back, and but they've been loyal. I've been loyal with them, and they've been loyal. So that's been kind of a blessing, and just have be consistent with your team. Um, don't and so I try to tell the digital agencies I work with, I'm here for you forever. I'm never going to go away. Only you will change. I will not change, and I have not changed in 30 years.
Very nice. And that's probably a testament to you being in business as long as you have, is a simple word of consistency. That is awesome. Very, very good. Okay, so I have this question. If our listeners only get one thing from you, if they only remember one thing, what do you think is the most important thing that you would like them to take from this? Maybe even some inspiration for that up and coming industry leader that wants to learn from you, and maybe you can act as a mentor to them. What would you want them to know as from you or your business?
I told my daughter this, who just passed her state board exam so she could be a radiologist. She's been going to school for a while. She's only 19, 20 years old, right? And the radiology industry is going crazy in changes. You have professors that like to profess. So she's getting all that training, right? In college. Now she's getting some hands-on experience as a radiologist, be able to, really get in her field. And she's hearing about certain technicians that would come in and talk about how it's just completely changing and the equipment's changing. And yet you still have to go through this education where you have to hear us profess. And that's all they care about, is getting you through the academics and the board certification training that you need and all that. And then you go into the real life and you find out, wait, they didn't teach me this in all my, and she's only 20. I had this conversation with her today. I said, what you need, Emma, is you need to have one foot into your rigor, the world of radiology, and get all the training you can ASAP. Get going in that. I know you're close to graduating, but start working and getting paid, and get the other foot in to the new side of things, the AI side of it. Because if you can't go very far without hearing some blowhard on CNN or some news station saying how radiologists are going to be completely changed because the AI robots are going to take over and they're going to do all the job, and they don't, that's all BS anyway. But she could still have one foot in that real world of working, and the other way leg into, now I need to maybe be a programmer in AI. Maybe I need to be an entrepreneur. Maybe I need to. So I got my start as one foot in and one foot out, and the other in as a bookkeeper. I was pre Excel in Windows, and it opened my world that I was trained in both sides. You've got to have both sides. One in the rigorous work and doing the hard things, And then the other side is constantly being able to be cutting edge, focused on things that no one else is doing, being the best. I have always said, I've always got the best service. You will never find a better service in the way that I do in delivery, in the most reports, quick, and the pricing, everything. And it just increases every year. You have to increase that delivery. You have to be the best at your A game. You have to be the best. And you have to have a service that you can always wake up and say, maybe I got competition out there, but I still am the best fit for the clients that I serve because no one else does what I do better. And there's always a room for a pioneer to go at places where people haven't ever been before. And even though I was a pioneer in SEO in 1996 when it first started, I got in kind of at the right time, but now's the best time to get into SEO for AI searches. You got to be the best at it, and so be a pioneer every year. Every year you got to come up with your new strategy to trek across the countryside in a wagon so you can pioneer into new frontiers and figure out what you're doing that is better than anyone else. And so that's my advice.
Mark, thank you very much for that. If folks, if you are a digital agency and you want support on the white label side of someone to help you with your SEO game, I want you to call the king of SEO, Mark, because Mark is going to do it for you. Obviously, he's been doing it for a long time, and I feel like he's going to be an honest person that can help you help your clients. So please look Mark up at the SEO game since he's established since 1996, and he'll be great for you.
Can
Mark,
I say something about that? The
sure.
queen is on my shirt and the queen is in my logo. Most powerful player. So instead of the king, how about the queen?
Oh, there you
I'm not
go.
a queen, but just become, associated with the queen at SEO game so
The,
that
the queen of strategy. I get
the
it.
queen of strategy, because that's the
Exactly.
most powerful player.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We will wrap this up. I think we'll have a great call for all you guys. If you guys need anything, please if you like our message, please like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you on the next one.